I did not order the painting. Let's get that out of the way right now. I was mildly buzzed, yes, but not so inebriated that I'd mistakenly click buy now and order the scariest painting I've ever seen in my life like most people. I like to look at stuff I'd never buy online. Last month it was houses I can't afford on Zillow. This month, it's paintings. If I really like one, that's the extent of my commitment to supporting art, which I didn't. I might save it to make it my desktop theme. See, I'm too poor to afford to deck my walls in original artwork, even if I wanted to order a painting, especially not this painting. It depicted a figure in an impressionist style, sort of like the famous Munch. The scream crossed with the style of Rembrandt. The figure all cloaked in darkness except for the illumination on the face, wondering what it was. About the not quite humanness of it that made it so creepy. Even through the phone screen, even with no eyes, I could swear I felt it watching me. Featureless, indistinguishable. The face was the most horrifying part. A fleshy patchwork of light in the otherwise dark canvas, like a nightmarish figure out of a dream. I tear open the paper packaging, and it's the painting. I remember staring at my phone for several long minutes, zooming in on that figure. I took a screenshot, sent it to some friends asking if it wasn't the creepiest thing they'd ever seen in their lives. That conversation quickly devolved into us sending lots of scary art pictures back and forth, like classic paintings of spooky children, disproportionate babies, a little Bosch, and so on. I hung the cursed painting in my living room, and that was that. Fast forward 3 days. There's a package on my doorstep waiting for me when I get home, wrapped in brown paper. That painting, the featureless smear of a face, stares at me from the dark canvas. It looks so fleshy I could almost sink my fingers into it. And now, I assumed, of course, that someone ordered the painting for me as a joke, but none of my friends would admit to it. The conversation turned to teasing about me being cursed. To me, this was just further evidence that one or all of them were playing what they thought was the world's most hilarious prank. And honestly, I thought it was kind of funny, too, so I went along. It should have gone down in the book of my life as a mildly amusing footnote. Even I had to admit, when I got up close, something to tell guests about whenever they came into my home, and asked what the hell was that creepy painting on the wall. But a week after it arrived, I was sitting at my desk working when I swear I heard a quiet rustle. You know how you can feel it when someone in your periphery is staring? The sensation was so strong. I turned around, and I almost screamed. The painting had eyes, and they were watching me, and I swear to God, swear to you on everything holy, it blinked, even when I did. Maybe the blink was just my imagining, but it definitely had newly painted eyes there in its fleshy impressionistic blotch of a face. Smears of darkness with just a tiny hint of light reflecting from them. Good riddance. Of course, I snapped a photo and sent it to my friends. And of course, they all assumed I'd painted on the eyes myself. It was clear that new paint had been applied on top of the original. I sent another text to the group. All right, which of you jokers has been in my house? Look like me. Denials all around. Maybe it was a prank, I thought. Most of my close friends know where I keep my spare key. But the painting kept changing. The changes were so subtle I honestly didn't notice at first. I assumed it was whoever had pranked me by buying the painting, that they were adding brush strokes whenever we had get-togethers. It almost became normal, the way I'd see new additions, just a little at a time. We often joked about it, everyone wondering who the mystery artist was who kept adding details. My friends would later tell me they all honestly thought it was me. But what really started to creep me out was when the changes to the painting made it. One day I woke up and walked out to a creepy impressionistic portrait of myself and decided enough was enough. I took the painting off the wall, dragged it downstairs to the dumpster, and tossed it in. But when I came home from work, it was back on its place on the wall. I was beginning to question my sanity. I tossed it out again, but the next morning when I woke up, it was back on the wall, and its lip was curled, like it was smiling. I had to go to work, and since I didn't want to run down to the dumpster again, I just turned it around so it was facing the wall, at least that way it couldn't watch me. When I came home from work, I considered trying to throw it away one more time, or burn it, but I was exhausted after a long day, and since it was still facing the wall, its eyes no longer following me, I left it there and had dinner and spent